he puts so much excitement, forth, and just trying to give the fans an exciting fight, and that's what you really don't see. You see guys hyping a fight, but then it turns into a boring fight or a 12-round decision. Gennadi's had 18 knockouts in a row right now, and he understands. Abel's instilled into him that it's an entertainment business, and he's got to take risks to provide the knockouts or the excitement in the ring, and that's what I think is really unique with him, is that combination, and him being able to provide the excitement in the ring, but then turn off the switch and being really humble and likable outside the ring. That's why he's gotten so many fans, because they really like to support him. Yeah.
Do you think you agree with a lot of fans that say that he may be avoided by like the Kodos and fighters like that?
There's no question. I mean, when I go down the list, up and down the list with HBO, and who would be possible and who's not possible, it always seems to be we fight him, but just not next. So that's what we're going to make a shirt. Triple G, just not next. So people don't want to say they don't want to fight him, but it's just hard to get him in the ring at that particular time.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys check out the description box. There's an article from Lance Pugmire of the LA Times where I'm getting this information. Now, Lance Pugmire did an interview with Golden Boy's Eric Gomez, and I want to discuss some of the things that they talked about. First things first, Luis King Kong Ortiz, devastating Cuban heavyweight. Looks like they're trying to get him on the Canelo versus Liam Smith undercard against Ustinov, I believe. And it's not finalized, but it looks like it's getting close to that. Now, something else that they talked about that is really of interest is they brought up the Canelo Triple G situation. And in it, Gomez says that Canelo is going to fight December 10th. It's slated for regular HBO, but they're going to try to get Gennady. Hey, no, guys. Hey, Max, not for future. Max. They're going to try to get Gennady Golovkin to be a double feature, a double header, if you will, with Canelo being obviously the main event and a co-main event being Gennady Golovkin versus somebody, because they both stated that they wanted to try to fight 3 times this year, right? And since they're not going to fight each other, Canelo just has to get past Liam Smith, maybe Triple G versus Eubank Jr., still not finalized, and then maybe a third fight for both. So this is very customary in the world of boxing to build up a future fight by having them on the same card. I remember Nonito Donaire, when people were talking about Guillermo Rigondeaux fighting Donaire, they had put him on the same card. Now, it fell apart, but they were still slated to be on the same card. It was Nonito Donaire versus Jorge Arce, and Rigondeaux was supposed to fight a guy named Ponsuat, and I don't know how to say his last name without slaughtering it, but the Ponsuat guy, he had irregular blood tests and he kept failing blood tests. A lot of people thought he had HIV, and I think it turns out he had a rare blood condition, so it forced him to retire, if I'm not mistaken. But they were supposed to be on the same card, and you can think of a ton of examples of this where they build a future fight by staging those 2 fighters on the same card. So I'm okay with that. My thoughts on it, that's cool, but at this point, I got to see more from Golden Boy. I got to see more tangible. Actions speak louder than words, and it's just the same song and dance. And it's weird to me because Tom Loeffler, great dude, but he seems content getting his fighter dicked around by like the Golden Boy politics or business or whatever you want to say, because every time it's like they keep selling them a dream, like, oh yeah, we could. You got to look at the chronological order. December 2015, both teams, Canelo, Triple G, and the WBC had a negotiating, and they agreed that they would both take voluntary fights of their choice to further build up a Canelo Triple G, even though we already know people want to see that now, and it doesn't really need to build up, right? And they did that. Amir Khan got knocked out by Canelo, and Wade got knocked out by Triple G. And then they were to have 15 days to negotiate, and during that period, Canelo's team, and Canelo released a statement saying, hey, I'm not going to be forced to these artificial deadlines. I'm vacating my belt. I've already told the WBC, but I still want to go negotiate with Triple G. Okay. And then about a week later, the still want to negotiate with Triple G turned into, we'll fight Triple G in the fall of 2017. We want to gradually move up to 160. Right. And then to make matters worse, okay, you want to gradually move up to 160. Do you want to fight another middleweight who's not as like revered as a Golovkin? Nope. Do you want to fight a top 154 pounder? Nope. You want to fight Liam Smith, the least known, or as Demetrius Andre said in a recent interview, the weakest link at 154. And he's not saying he's the worst person at 54 as a whole, but he's the worst option for fighters with names in you know what I mean, within that top 10 category. You look at Vanes Martirosyan, compare his resume to Liam Smith, Charlo, Demetrius Andre. I mean, check all these guys' resumes and their title holder and their status and their exposure compared to a Liam Smith. So it's just, I got to see more from Golden Boy, something that's tangible, and I'm not going to be bamboozled. And I'm a boxing fan as well as a reporter, but I'm not going to let someone bamboozle me and stuff. So it's to the point where I got to see something. I got to see something tangible. My advice to Team Triple G is, if you do fight on the Canelo undercard, then you are definitely going to add to his numbers and to his pocketbook, because Canelo will get some, I'm sure his deal, he's such a star, I'm sure his deal would encompass getting a base salary as well as pay-per-view back-end proceeds, and you know what I mean, a little bit more off the top based on how successful the pay-per-view is. So if you're going to add to that equation, I would want something in writing. These verbal agreements and stuff, that's not cutting it for me if I was Team Triple G. So that's my suggestion to them, if they want to go that route and give that additional boost to the Canelo, whoever he fights in December 10th. Other thing that's concerning to me is Canelo's fighting Liam Smith, who's relatively unknown in the States, but HBO has a December date on regular HBO, unless Triple G is going to fight on as the co-main event. So if HBO has a regular HBO date, why didn't they make Canelo Liam Smith on regular HBO, which seems more suitable? It's not, either way you slice, it's not the fight that the fans are requesting. People would much rather see a Lara rematch, Andre, Charlo, Vanes, anybody like that. On top of that, you're going to charge us $60, $70, $80 for the pay-per-view. It's not really making sense, especially when you have an open slot for an HBO date in your budget. You know what I mean? Why not make the Liam Smith on free HBO, and then whoever he fights in December, hopefully that'll be a bigger fight, and then you charge that for pay-per-view if you had to give him a pay-per-view date. It just doesn't make sense to put like a Liam Smith Canelo on pay-per-view. I guess they think Canelo's star power is so great where no matter who they put him in with, you know what I mean, they could put him with the Sesame Street character, and I guess they feel he'll fight. So as far as what Gomez is saying, that instead of September, they could possibly fight in May if they both fight on the same card and are successful. I just got to see it to believe it, because at this point, there's been too much of a runaround. And like I said, I'm surprised that Loeffler is even okaying this or going. I just read an article, I've seen an interview where Tom Loeffler was saying he's optimistic. I mean, that's cool to stay positive, but I don't really see what Team Canelo has given you to be optimistic about making the fight. But according to Loeffler, he just seems content with that. Like, oh, we're optimistic, it can happen. I'm just giving my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think. Share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.